Yeah. We're gonna let's build up a little bit. Oh, yep. Still on there. There we go. Now it's off. Let's see what happens. We're gonna give it a second. We're gonna build it up a little bit, work out a couple things. Let's see what who's in this with that. Yeah, feedback. Yeah, I know it's my phone. I was trying to do something. Y'all will see in a second. Y'all will see in a second. And I hit the button and Jay jumped out. Where did Jay go? I don't know, but he should be back shortly. Man, first off, you know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get it going, man. It's another episode of our favorite sports show. Uh Man, the rec room is back, or even on the off season. I think we're just having a little bit of communication error with Jay. There we go. Okay, we've got Jay in the building. Okay, Jay, are those your Eclipse glasses? Yeah, I think he was definitely
Can't
prepared
see
for
out
this.
of these things.
Hey,
I can't see out of these things.
did you go look at the eclipse?
Who you say what?
Did you go look at the eclipse?
Ah, there you go. Did I go look at it?
Yeah, like did you
I
with
mean,
the
yeah, I looked at it.
How do you feel? Did you turn into a superhero yet? Has
Yeah, with
has the
these.
X gene kicked
Yeah.
in? Because I got several people on TikTok who said Charles Xavier tried to reach out to them just yesterday. Shout out to Uncle Charles. Everybody knows Uncle Charles. But anyway, man, yo, it's the Regular Sports Crew. You know how we do, man. We back in the building. We gonna have a fun episode today. We got some communication errors with Jay right now. I think the sunspot is having a flare right now, so his Wi-Fi is going on and off. But that's what happens in South Carolina. That's normal. We deal with it. But of course, everybody, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're getting ready to get it started in just a second. But first off, while he's not here, so if you can see the stuff on the bottom of the screen, right, we're gonna surprise Jay right now by saying happy birthday. Oh shit. I bet you he wasn't prepared for that. So Jay, right?
All right.
Your birthday is in April.
So I'm pressing stuff. All right.
Look at him. He's not
All right.
even
Here we
aware.
go.
So Jay, your birthday is in April, man, right?
Ah, yeah.
So first of all, let me tell everybody a story. So 3 or 4 years ago, Jay, my brother, called me and said, "Hey man, I want to do a show. We're gonna talk about sports and stuff. And I'm gonna get off the truck and I'm gonna take pictures in random strip clubs with celebrities who play sports." And I said, "That's a great idea for a show." And then pow, out of nowhere, the Rec Room Sports Crew had begun. And from that point on, it had taken off. It had turned into 2, 3 different things. We're working on some stuff. Jay's got nonprofit ideas. I mean, it's great. But first of all, Jay, as your brother from another mother, I just want to tell you and everybody who's watching, happy birthday, bro. Or belated birthday, because it was actually on Sunday. I was off. I thought it was yesterday, but it was actually on Sunday. So, Jay, how do you feel 1 year later, one more rotation around the sun?
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, because hey, man, look, you helped put this together. You put the cement
I
block.
heard strip. I heard strip. I heard something about strip clubs though. Oh,
You're yeah, I mean, it's that was I did say something about strip clubs. Yes, this is true. But
I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing you.
I don't
I
can
heard
everybody
something about strip clubs.
Yes, strip clubs were involved in what I did say. That is true. Yeah, I'm not, but everything else was just, hey, you put the bricks on the ground. We're still here. We're still doing the
I
rec
can
room.
hear you.
Uh-oh. Everybody else can everybody else in the green room, can you hear me? Okay, yeah, they can hear me. We're gonna have Jay reset his stuff and shout out to everybody in the room. Don't forget it was Jay's birthday. So if you're in the comment section, put happy birthday in the comment section, like, share, subscribe. It's the Rec Room Sports Podcast. It's another episode, but yo, you know what we gotta do? We might as well hit the countdown first so Jay can get his Wi-Fi right. We can get ready to go. Oh, everything's slowing.
This is Rec Room Sports. Olympians carrying the torch, going where they don't go. We ain't lost. From the optics to the topics, we got this with synopsis. Think outside the boxes like Jay on the mic or your boy K Witt. Joe is my coach, T Sweat on the mix. All sports, even if you catch fish like Nate Diaz catches fist. You need to catch this episode, it's a can't miss. We go live and you should subscribe and X's and O's. We made our plan, yo.
Yes, sir, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. What's going on, folks, ladies and gentlemen? Even in the off season, we still working. So we are back again. First of all, if you missed the opener, happy birthday to Jay, our guy, Jay on the MIC. Jay Sheen, birthday just passed. So make sure in the comment section you put in happy birthday, Jay. And for his birthday, we need a share and a like and a subscribe. And you might as well stay and watch the whole thing because we got a whole show for you today. I ain't gonna lie, we might as well do the whole show. We got Jay fresh off of staring at the sun, with everybody else. I see he's got his eclipse glasses on. He was ready, well, and prepared. Jay, what's going on, bro? How you feeling, man? One more year later.
You right about that one. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we definitely can hear you on this side, bro. We definitely can hear you
on
this side. Everybody in the green room got a
what we got going on here?
Man, well,
on
an off season day, we got a lot to talk about. So big shouts out to you first up. Big shouts out to all my Aries out there. Once again, it's another episode of the Rec Room Sports. It's the off season, so we're gonna do it a little different. We're not gonna have like a full show. We're gonna cover a bunch of stuff. We're gonna talk about all the important topics. We're gonna make sure that you're informed, right. And we got two of our favorite friends in the green room, ready to kick some knowledge and put you on point for what you might have missed, just in case you were living under a rock or something like that. And of course, everybody knows me, man. It's your boy K Witt, your mama #1 draft pick. And man, let me tell you, I have been eating pineapples for 4 straight days with a little bit of tahini on them. I don't know if that's like Hispanic. I don't know if that's of Hispanic descent, but if y'all ever tried tahini, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's in that section where soon as you turn, every grocery store has that section. When you turn the corner, the music starts because y'all know what I'm talking about. I got a little bit of tahini, I put it on some fruit. I'm having it for breakfast now. Trying to decrease my calorie intake early in the morning and make sure I drink a lot of fluids. So follow me on my journey because I'm not losing any weight, but I'm just going to eat things differently. Okay. Pause. But we'll see how that goes. Everybody, man, shout out to my boy Jay on the MIC. He is in the building. Man, Jay, tell me about your experience these last 2 days living in a new year for yourself, bro.
what I can say about that is I got plenty of sleep. I got plenty of sleep. And that's sad, that I have to, get sleep for my birthday. But hey, all in the day's work.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Hey, so oh yeah. Yo, shout out to Daniel. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. What's going on? What's up, brother? Special teams, special plays, special players. All right. Everybody knows. Okay, we in the building today. Well, right now we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it, man. The warm-up is where was Whit? Like what happened? What did I do? I don't know. I got to do a little traveling. So in the past 2.5 weeks, I've been to 2 sporting events, man. I got to go see the Orlando Magic play the LA Clippers down out there in Orlando, man, and I had a good time. But the Clippers are good in real life, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. All right. I don't know if you know, but Paul George is looking like Paul George. Now, one of the things that I took away from the game for real, though, Jay, and I know, and I think you said it earlier this year, is that Paolo Banchero is going to be one of the players in the NBA to benefit from playing that USA basketball. Didn't you say that?
Yep. You hit the ground running, just like Halliburton and a couple of others, Gil Shea and like I say others, from Canada and even Luca. You know what I'm saying? Even though his team sucked as a whole, he was out there balling, and he pretty much, he got a good win. He got a good run in for the summer. So there you go. A lot of guys pretty much have been, pretty much took off from the summer, but for their respective teams. But yeah, definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, man. Paolo Banchero, Suggs, Jalen Suggs. Shout out to Jalen Suggs. It was Polish Hammer Night. Marcin Gortat got celebrated. I don't know if y'all know anything about the Orlando Magic, but Marcin Gortat was Orlando's answer for a few years once Dwight Howard left. And Marcin Gortat was I don't want to say he was all-star caliber, but he was. If he wasn't the all-star, if there was a few different centers in the East at the time, Marcin Gortat definitely would have been right there in the all-star game every year. And they had a big celebration for him. And he was actually funny story. He was actually walking around the club level and got on the wrong elevator and was like going down while I was coming up. Pause. And it was crazy. And I was like, hey man, God damn. Like when you see him, you see when you see 6'10", like 6'10" or 6'11" on like a paper, it looks totally different. And he looks really in shape right now. So he was towering over everybody, going down the escalator, still bigger than everybody riding next to him. And then I went to another sporting event last week, Jake. Guess where I went?
Where, Whit?
Bro, I went to my first arena football game, man. The IFL's Jacksonville Sharks. I went and watched them at their home opener. And although it was a loss, I had a great time, man. I think that you know how we say here at Rec Room Sports, we go where they don't go. I think that is it's a party. It's like a party in a bottle, some really hard hits, some actually really good quarterbacking happened. Although the quarterback got hurt, although our quarterback got hurt in Jacksonville, they're going to work it out, I'm sure. But it's something to go see. And look, man, these guys are playing hard and they're playing their hearts out for the fans who are literally I literally could have threw my shoe onto the field where I was sitting at. I could have hit a cat once or twice. But yeah, man, shout out to the Jacksonville Sharks. And I guess the next time, we got, Jay normally goes places, so that's I gotta, do a little bit of traveling. Got to do a little bit of traveling this time. But enough about me, y'all. Let's get into the sports. Jay, you know what this past weekend was, right? Yeah, exactly. I forgot. You might not know. You might not know. Yeah.
I would say it was a revenge game, and then in there but
Yeah.
definitely NCAA championships.
There you go, man. Of course, this past weekend we had the NCAA championships, men and women's championships. So we're gonna have a big reaction about that. I think we might even have one of our guests from the green room jump in. I know our guy, Undisputed World Champ, is a avid sports fanatic. Uncle Bo over there on the West Coast, he may have watched the game as well. I mean, when you think about as many people, so we might as well have them join in. So, Jay, man, you first, because I know your birthday was capped off with a W. Tell me about it, bro.
Yes,
Tell me about it.
yes. Yo, man, I felt like Raven Johnson, like for a whole year. You know what I mean? And I really I felt so bad for her, because nobody wants to get waved off while they behind the 3-point line. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they ain't doing shit.
Dang, we ain't even worried about that.
Yeah, that hurt me. That hurt me. I'm not even a Gamecocks fan, but I became a fan from that day. It's like, okay, we'll get back. And she's gonna, she paid the price. You know what I'm saying? Definitely got that get back in South Carolina. And it's funny because everybody like, yeah, she held her down and everything. Well, Caitlin still scored 30, 30. But she ripped them, 4 steals. Raven Johnson, man, like she came ready to play regardless. She didn't, quite have the offensive blowout that I wanted. Hit a couple threes and make her actually guard you. That was sort of what I was looking for. But I mean, look, a win is a win. You know what I mean? And especially against a team that put you out last season. I mean, it was great. It was awesome. It was a joyous event. Like I swear. If I should have put, I keep forgetting that usually the championship game usually falls on my birthday.
Right.
Yeah. Or maybe, of course, it usually falls on my birthday. I never get the men's championship game on my birthday. Never. Very rarely. Very rarely. But man, just to see them, just to get back, man, just to get back for just Raven Johnson, the whole team. I said it, some people close to me, I told people, I was like, yo, they're going to come back and they're going to win the championship. And you'll never have to worry about them not being able to shoot from the perimeter ever again. From that day on, I said that you would never, especially what the homegrown talent that actually came in, to town to help out. You got Full Wiley, you got Watkins, you got, it was nice. It was for the city. You understand what I'm saying? It was for the city, by the city. It was nice. It was nice.
Man, listen, I'm with you 100% on that one, bro. I don't know if the people watching knows, but Jay and I are both from not native South Carolinians, but homegrown South Carolinians, if you will. We were cultivated in the heat, the sweltering heat and humidity of South Carolina. And to see once again the women's game be kept, just careening to another level right before my very eyes, and to even have like past Gamecocks who are now dominating in the WNBA out there in the arena and taking pictures and on Instagram going crazy. I was like, yeah, this is turning into something. Years past, as I am slightly older now, when I was younger, I remember it was UConn girls and Tennessee girls and Volunteers and Pat Summitt and, even Kim Mulkey when she was, not at LSU, prior to now, if y'all can remember, like I remember those days, and now I feel compelled to be excited about something that comes from South Carolina, especially Dawn Staley, who exhibited 110 miles high of class, because we're gonna get into it, because of course I don't know if y'all know the previous post-game conference was interrupted by a question which had nothing to do with Dawn Staley and the state of USC women's basketball. And I'm not a hater. I have been around journalists. I have done I guess you could say internships with people who've covered sports journalism for long periods of time. Sometimes you throw a curveball out there to get a reaction, and we're not going to necessarily go into it on this show. But Dawn Staley hit it out the park with the right wording and said, "If you think that you should play the game, then you should play, regardless of sex."
Yeah,
End of
thanks,
discussion.
Dan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks. Right. You know, she's happy to talk about the girls and the young ladies who are on the bench and how they're going to learn from this and that. And you want to talk about people with sex changes playing
Yo,
sports.
check this out. And that fool had the audacity to go on Twitter, like, look what I did, y'all. I asked Dawn Staley this. And everybody was like, what the hell? What possessed you to ask some type of question in the middle of her, their moment? Like, what was that about, dude? And thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
That's all I got to. Thanks, Dan.
You know, I know somewhere in his mind he might have felt proud to initiate such a visceral conversation because that's a very polarizing topic. You either hear or hear with it, just no in between. But once again, Dawn Staley, class, said something smart, got us, deflected a little bit, but also answered the question. And then before they really got to celebrate, Dawn Staley gave Caitlin Clark 18 million viewers might have saw her say, "Caitlin Clark, you are one of the GOATs of our sport." And I think that was a class act. Jay, what about you?
Oh shit. I'm looking at. I was just looking at something. Nah. Look. It was. Should I say that I don't necessarily. I don't want to go into that subject, but I don't think Dawn Staley really thought about what she said. You know what I mean? I don't think she really gave too much thought. It's easy to say that until like you getting like, you know what I'm saying, Ant-Man on, you know what I'm saying? Like one of your girls is getting posterized and you like, well, what? Well, damn. You know, I mean, I'll just leave it like that. But yeah, it's easy to say that now. I just, it's easy to say, yeah, anybody could play. Yeah, that's great. But to what you were saying, hold on, I think we no yeah, check your check your chat. But anyway, it was, I don't know. I don't know how to put that, man. It kind of messed up everything. You know what I'm saying? Even that moment, I just really feel like, just like we talked about on Friday, man, there's a agenda being pushed one way or the other. Like journalism, like we're sitting here on the couch, you know what I mean, while he's getting all the big bucks. You know what I mean? And he's asking questions like that. You don't see nothing wrong with that?
It's once again, it's a way, it's a reason why he's there apparently. And we're not going to take away from his journalism, his journalistic prowess. He worked hard to get to the point where he can have that badge, where he could be in that room to ask that question. But dang it, sometimes somebody got to not fart in a room full of us eating dinner. You know what I'm saying? And he sure let the gas out in front of everybody. But hey, like I said, once again, it was an opportunity for Dawn Staley to show the world that you can be smart. Okay, on camera. You don't got to be ignorant and dumb and say you, because I know in her mind she probably wanted to say something else, but she did a great job of getting around that. What do you think about what she said after the game, though, Jay? Giving Caitlin Clark her flowers as far as being one of the GOATs of the college basketball female, well, not even female, but just college basketball world, period.
I mean, all praise due. Like, I mean, she was right on. Like, you take Caitlin Clark out of the game, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be the same, but I mean, she sure made it exciting. Even though they took that L, at the end, it was very exciting. It was an exciting season. She not only put herself on the map as far as her skill and her drive and everything that she represents as a person and what she wants to do for, she's always saying about the little girls that's watching her and stuff like that. Like she really puts on uh she really puts on for her peoples, man. Like everybody from Iowa, from Cedar Rapids and beyond. But what Dawn Staley said, it was great for her to even acknowledge the loser. I'm sorry, but yeah,
Yeah,
to even acknowledge the loser
it
and
is what
like
it is. Oh well, yeah. I know Jay's coming back in just a second. So while we got Jay out, Champ, we got one of our favorite guests. We're gonna might as well bring both of them in here because I think Uncle Bo might have to leave, but I know everybody is on the
What's
sports.
happening, guys?
Uncle Bo, man, and my brother Champ, how y'all fellas doing today?
Good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on, even though I'm going to be here for about 2 seconds.
Thank you. Yeah, while you here, man, we normally get to hear you talk football, Bo. But what about a little basketball? Did you get a chance to watch either the men's or the women's game, and tell us your reaction about it?
Of course, man. Of course. I mean,
I like that
I'm a football guy, but of course I watch the games. National championships, you can't miss that stuff. It was funny because watching the men's, when I saw that matchup, I knew UConn was going to win that game. They're enough better. You knew they were going to bring that out. You kind of hoped Purdue was going to put up a little more of a fight than they did, but as soon as the second half started, you could tell towards the end of the first, Purdue was gassed.
Yeah,
like they were moving slow. They weren't coming up off of picks very well, and in the second half, UConn walked away with it. The women's game, on the other hand, that was a fun game to watch, and there was a reason they had 5 million more viewers than the men's game. They that was a fun game to watch. It was.
bro. Listen, you hit the nail on the head with that one, Bo. I gotta go ahead and throw it out there. I'm gonna throw a softball to my brother Champ right here. I believe Champ did a video on the amount of the disparity between viewers in the last what did you say, Champ? The last several years, and the women's game and this game, man. So tell us what you found out doing your research about the NCAA game. And welcome to the show, Champ. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you.
Hey, shout out to Columbus, Georgia, as always, man. Good weather down here, greatest city in America. Up south side, I don't know what it is.
That's what's up. So yeah, man. How many viewers watched the women's game that you and compared to like the last 10 or so years? And welcome back, Jay.
And I must say, man, I was so impressed because over 18 million viewers, 18.5 million viewers watched Caitlin Clark versus the greatest player, arguably of all time in college basketball, versus arguably one of the greatest coaches and the greatest teams of all time in college basketball. And they beat the NBA Finals, and that was the highest rated basketball game of the last 5 years, including the NBA Finals. So I will say this, WNBA, if you listen to my flapping gums, please take notice, because if you fumble this time around, then that's your own fault. You can't say that you don't have any stars coming into the league, because you have arguably, with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark alone, you have the potential to push them as your Bird and Magic in order to push them into the stratosphere, because that rivalry is good. Not to mention with some of the players in South Carolina, arguably one of the greatest basketball teams of all time in modern day era, with the players they're pushing out to the WNBA, you cannot miss on this. And if you miss on this one, it will be total lack of marketing, because for a women's basketball game of this magnitude, a national championship no less, to beat the NBA Finals in the last 5 years. Think about who's been in the NBA Finals the last 5 years. LeBron James himself in the bubble, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, just to name a few. These are some of the biggest names in the world, not just in the NBA, but in the world. And for those young women to push that game into the stratosphere like they did, it is nothing short of amazing. So WNBA, you better take notice. And if you fumble this time around, because fact of the matter is there's been a lot of great players that came into this league. There's been a lot of great players that came into the WNBA. I mean, Cheryl Swoops, just to name a few. That 96 Olympic team was enough to push you into the stratosphere, and they got eyeballs on TV like no other time. And in fact,
their marketing machine drops the ball a lot, because even in Seattle, we've won 4 championships here, and we still don't generally know when the beginning of the season is.
Yes.
Right? I mean, so it's ridiculous the way they drop the ball. And to your point, with the amount of viewers, they're also outpacing almost every Thursday night NFL game.
Yes.
If you're taking down the NFL, you're getting viewers, right? Like those are eyeballs. So I was really impressed with it. Thanks again for having me on, guys. I hear the door knock, so I gotta jump off of here. Happy birthday, Jay. And man, you got to get some Wi-Fi that's not from Temu or something. Because
I just so I keep this is what it is. I have a Wi-Fi. I keep hooking up to the wrong Wi-Fi.
You love a story that starts with "See what happened was." Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go.
All right, man. Bo,
All right,
thanks again, Bo. See you next time. Man, but in essence, Bo was hitting the nail on the head, man. It's crazy how the women's game has really, and let's just imagine this, right? The start of the season for Iowa was them getting the Hawkeye Stadium. 55,000 people came to watch them play basketball live. And I personally can't imagine 55,000 people in Iowa. Okay, I'm not saying that Iowa. I ain't saying Iowa not popping. I'm not saying that Iowa don't. They don't got the spot or But 55,000 people coming from all corners of Iowa to watch a basketball game played in a football arena. I can't imagine that. Jay, do me a big favor. Hold on and go ahead and do your thing. And I'm gonna be right back. You two talk about the NCAA men's championship.
Well, yeah, I must say this. Number one, I will say that this is one of the men's championship. Hey, Coach Hurley has done a hell of a job with that program. Now, it used to be that UConn, but people underestimate the men's side of UConn, but UConn has always been a powerhouse in college basketball, even on the men's side. But people don't necessarily pay attention to that because of Coach Gino. And when you have a big shadow, arguably the best women's basketball coach of all time, casting the shadow over that school and that program, it's kind of hard in order to break through as being a popular program. But him winning back-to-back in an era of NIL, winning in an era of the transfer portal, winning in an era of one and done, this is arguably the hardest thing that you probably could ever do. That's he won back-to-back in arguably the hardest era in college basketball. Plus there's no big, huge. Although the UConn is a huge powerhouse program, there's no premier program right now in college basketball on the men's side, I would say. They don't have that big NBA star like they did back when the Big East was running things, back when the SEC was running things back in Florida. There's not that one big star that you're looking at stating that this is going to be the person that takes the NBA into the stratosphere. Unfortunately, the men's basketball side, they don't have a Caitlin Clark. They don't have an Angel Reese. They don't have the big stars that they used to have. I mean, they don't even have the star-studded coaches that they used to have. They don't even have that. So essentially, women's basketball is everything what men's basketball used to be back in the day in the 80s, early 90s, and the 2000s, when you had coaches like John Thompson, PJ Carlesimo, and guys like that running the NC2A. So that's what women's basketball has done at this point. But back to the men, I would say Coach Hurley has done a hell of a job during this hard era. When it's hard, it's very hard to retain these players because so much is the trappings are out there. The G League is out there. Overseas is out there. As you can see, you know, overseas players are gradually, slowly but surely overtaking a lot of us American players. I mean, and that's just being real. And they have the fundamentals down pat. So, you know, you have the overseas league, you have, you know, a little bit more minor league basketball, some of the CBAs coming back. And for you to win back-to-back in an era like this and to be on the same par at this moment, I can't put him in GOAT conversations, but at this moment with a Coach K, with a Coach Wooten, guys of that caliber is nothing short of amazing. So you have to give credit where credit is due when you talk about those guys.
Hey man, Bo, Champ, you said a mouthful. You hit the nail on the head. I'm gonna let Jay get in there too. You know, the men's game was just a little bit different. I'm gonna hold off my points. Jay, tell us what you thought as far as you watching the men's game, which took place last night between Purdue and UConn.
Almost forgot there was one. Be honest, I was like, damn, like this is the first time, you know, that we actually had a women's championship that made you say, damn, like, oh man, we got another game to watch tomorrow. I would say in years past, there was always, yeah, whatever. Let's get to the men's game. Let's get to the men's championship game. Nobody ever cared. So, you know, the men's championship, it was good. You know, as far as the teams go, it was good to see Purdue finally get there. You know, after so many years of having Edie and not making it, getting bounced out the first round and you know, so on and so on. Like they never made it, you know, as far as they should with the talent that they had. They have way more talented teams in the past and didn't make it, you know. You know, as a coach, you know, Hurley's looking good right now. And I just think that's a product of, you know, the fact that you have these coaches, man. These coaches, they've diminished, man, in what they're able to teach these kids and how they're able to like grasp everything put together with the NIL. And you know, you got Calipari leaving, and you know, now they're talking about Hurley possibly taking the Kentucky job, or it's there for him, or will he take it? You know, and it's watered down a bit. You know, men's college basketball is definitely watered down, and we're seeing the lasting effect of it is we have a coach that wins back-to-back with not as much talent. I want to say he has 1 5-star on his team. And now that'll be it. You know, look at this. Cooper Flagg could have been a Husky next year. Imagine that. You know, the best player in the country. So he was able to not use as much NIL money as some of these other coaches are doing, and put a good team out there that won a championship 2 back-to-back. And he actually rubbed it in when he said, "I got 2 wins, both by a lot." You know, and I was like, "Damn, did you have to say that?" You know, hey, that's you. You did it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as far as the men's game goes, you know, wasn't as much fireworks as the women's game, but 2 respected teams, 2 number 1 seeds, which the way it should be, you know, actually, you know, fought it out. But, you know, it's just still kind of watered down, you know, basically, you know, think about it, you know, Purdue, when, you know, you could get knocked off just about by anybody. Purdue was getting sent home early every year. You know what I mean? Now here they are, they make it to the championship game, and which I feel has been a watered down, you know, college basketball season. UConn lost to, who did they lose to? Did they lose to Creighton? They got blown up by like Creighton. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look at the both teams and they earned the shot of being there, but I still think it is just like I said, the remnants of a watered down season. I mean, they played well. UConn, they definitely have some talent coming in next season, even with not getting the number one player, who was going to Duke, Cooper Flag. But I always said he should go to UConn. And I bet he was probably thinking of himself when he was looking at this tournament, like, damn, maybe I should have picked UConn. He could make Duke a lot better, but imagine if he went to UConn again. I told him. I said it. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to pull that out of the file cabinet. Like, yo, he looked better in a UConn uniform. But, hey, it is what it is, man. Hurley still earned back-to-back wins. He's the man right now. He's the hot commodity. Just like all those coaches that you named, all those coaches are sitting on the sidelines, just speaking the truth. Carlissimo was actually on the radio call of the championship game. And, he gave him his props, but he's one that sees the same thing. That when we have a competitive, savage coaching of once everybody gets the grasp of this NIL and learn how to flip these transfers, it's gonna be back, the sharks in the water again.
Man, listen, bro, I gotta completely agree with you on that one. Especially listening to it because, of course, when we start talking about the NIL deals, man, it's hard to say that you can function in the old style of coaching in NCAA, bro. We see that Coach Calipari, big, huge proponent for saying, hey, look, one and dones, I'll take you there. I'll get you where you need to go. And we saw a team like Alabama, which was comprised of mainly transfers and graduate transfers at that, come in and show you, hey, look, these kids have been playing 3-4 years, some of them 5 because of the COVID year, that they've been practicing so much that we could just put them in any jersey and they will be, not necessarily stars, but they can compete with anybody. I think that was like a big deal. Another thing is, very similar to what we saw in the women's game where Caitlin Clark, let me preface this by saying this. I'm not saying that neither one of the teams I'm about to mention aren't teams. They are great teams. That's why they made it to the championship. But what I'm saying is, we were looking at it as if, I was for a long time, I was looking at it like Zach Edey is going to go out there and ball for Purdue. Not that the poor Purdue team was going to produce enough to win. And it threw me. And I was like, okay, well, what happened? How are we going to, have this be a competitive game? And then Caitlin Clark with the Iowa Hawkeyes, with the Lady Hawkeyes. We were all talking about Caitlin Clark and not the rest of the team. And at the same time, once again, both of the winners produced great team aspects in the game. UConn, although it looked shaky, Edey was balling for that first about 10 minutes. But the team of UConn started to roll after a while. Same thing with the U.S. with the Lady Gamecocks. The team started to roll after a while. Shout out to Big Cardoso. She's 6'8". When she started getting the paint touches that she needs, then the rest of the game started to flow for the Lady Gamecocks and vice versa for UConn. I see it as a testament to getting to where you need to be with a certain amount of players that come to the school and also a certain amount of players who transfer. Because with the transfers, the maturity that comes with being, I don't want to say kicked around or whether with the opportunity of being other places, not like, some of the, freshmen that are going to come in and ball, that played a part, you know what I'm saying? And both winning teams having success, not just in the championship game, but this season. But yeah, man, listen, great game all the way around for both the men and the women. I honestly, the last thing I can think of is, and Jay and everybody, champ you too. I remember that Billy Donovan, Florida team. And then the next thing was like, well, can't Billy Donovan coach in the NBA? And I can't lie, Billy Donovan doing all right in the NBA. Will Hurley take a leap of faith? Because the old guard of coaching is going out the back door too. And maybe he can, take a team like, I don't know, the Trailblazers and change the aspect of how they play, knowing how young people are and what he even made the joke. He was like, yeah, my son was on the bench complaining about minutes, and I think he's going to hit the transfer portal. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought that was quite funny, but at the same time, I bet you he knows what to do with players from this generation who want to ascend to the next level. Hurley could get in there and say, look, this is how it was in college. I know how to translate it to the NBA. Could it be the next new face? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on that one. But, yeah, man, so, fellas, it's kind of crazy because this is one of those weird times of the year where we go, man, what are we going to do without football? And somehow, some way, the sports guys look down upon us and say, don't worry, I got something for you. And I thought to myself, what are we going to do? And then bang, all of a sudden, and Champ knows exactly where I'm going with this one, right? Oh, wait. Yeah. There we go. No football, no problem. Insert the inaugural week of the NFL. And now, of course, they've actually had 2 weeks. So the UFL, which is comprised of 2 leagues, everybody has a merger now, which is comprised of 2 leagues, which is, of course, the USFL and the XFL combined together to create an opportunity for players who were cut, didn't quite make it, didn't get drafted, didn't last long enough in the NFL to get their just due and put on pads and cleats and play for some of these teams in the UFL. And I like, once again, y'all know me. We go where they don't go. Jay remembers a year or so ago how excited I was about the return of the XFL, and then this happens. And I know you guys, we're not talking about wrestling, but I know you guys know that The Rock is involved. Like WrestleMania, The Rock, UFL. I felt like this was a match made in heaven right here with this one. So let's just kick some real quick facts. Of course, the first week, I'm saying we got like 4 games. We're going in. We're trying to see who's doing what. Some names stick out, some don't. I see the Battle Hawks. Shout out to St. Louis. AJ McCarron. Y'all remember AJ McCarron from the good old Alabama days, from the good old what was the St. Louis Rams days and the Bengals days. He's out here throwing spirals, looking good for the Battle Hawks. And I was like, wait a minute, wasn't he in the league last year? So it's not our first time seeing AJ McCarron, but it looks a little odd seeing him in another uniform, even in the UFL. But shout out to AJ McCarron. You got the Showboats, the Roughnecks down there in Houston. They went 18-2. The DC Defenders, the Texas Brahmas, the Stallions, the Renegades. So many games took place that inaugural week. And of course, we had a lot to look forward to as the season progresses. And some of these names that are going to pop up, of course, for being really good. Champ, I hit you up earlier and I said, was there anything that popped out for you from either week 1 or week 2 of the UFL that caught your eye?
Yeah, number one, the kickers, man. I mean, there's a lot of these kickers that are just, and I know that people are not going to say, well, all the thing you got to do is kick, but I'm going to just be real. Hey, if you got the wrong kicker on the last second, then you're pretty much out of there. Because, hey, special teams is 30% of the game, if you really want to be honest. Number 2, and I think I talked to you about this earlier, you ever notice how much the NFL steals from other leagues? You notice how the NFL stole the 2-point conversion from the USFL back in the early days in the 80s? You notice how the NFL stole the kickoff rules from the XFL last year and applied it this year? You notice how a lot of the camera angles that the NFL does, a lot of it came from Vince McMahon and the old XFL. So when they say the NFL is a copycat league, it's because the NFL loves to copy. So never forget that. And guess what? When you really think about it, they stole free agency from a lot of other sports because remember, the NFL didn't have free agency back in the day.
Hey man, listen, that you completely right about that one. When I think about what's going on right now with the state of what is happening in football, I mean, there's an opportunity for there to be drastic changes, and this league could seriously be one of them. I mean, the opportunity for you to make a 53-man roster is often far and few between, but for there to be a space for, let's say the reserves, the practice squad guys to come and show how they do. And the thing is, I'm thinking about the money that's involved. If there's opportunities eventually for second round, third round guys who say, look, I'm going to go in the UFL for a year to get my mind, my body right, and I'm gonna take a check and then get into the NFL after I get the especially like the verbiage of offenses down. I think that's a possibility. I mean, there was 2 leagues back in the day with the NFL, and of course, it turned out that eventually we would have several great quarterbacks from other leagues eventually join the NFL. So this is a possibility that it can happen again. Jay, when I know you're slightly new to the spring football, but you're no spring chicken to football in itself. When you think about the UFL coming in and filling in the need for spring football, like what comes to mind that you're looking for?
I mean, you always have your, like Champ was talking about the kickers earlier. Something I definitely noticed. With me, honestly, I can't wait until they actually kind of figure out some type of system in line with the NFL, because it just seems like, I guess, no one is really watching that much. You know what I mean? Like somebody called me and was like, yeah, I was watching the Birmingham game, and I was like, yeah, that's the one I fell asleep on. You know what I mean? And it was a good game. I mean, it's football, but like to be totally, I guess, into it, guess you just have to watch, but what if, the NFL was sort of in line with these leagues, some type of spring football, where it's pretty much you got the G League for basketball. Why not something of the same sort for NFL? I mean, some of these players, of course, what the season ends when? I say by like the end of the summer, then sometime in June or July. So I mean, it still gives players some type of a way to kind of get outsourced to the NFL. I mean, what I would want to see is I guess more household names. I mean, we've seen the McCarrons. I think what was Bo Scarborough.
Bo Scarborough, Scooby Wright. There's a couple other guys that
which I still think Bo Scarborough. I don't understand, like, what happened with him in the NFL in the first place? Which I'm just.
I swear, I closed my eyes. He looked like Derrick Henry or something, right? Like,
and he was with the Cowboys.
He was. I mean, and they were so deep at the running back position at that time. I mean, although he's a monster, and that's just putting it lightly. Although he's a monster, it's kind of hard to get ahead of Ezekiel Elliott, and a lot of time it's the guy that you paid. Ezekiel Elliott had got paid around the time that Bo Scarborough had came into it, or was about to get paid, and he was a feature back. So I mean, it's kind of hard to break it to that when I just paid this young guy almost $50-70 million, and here you come. But I mean, you have to give a lot of credit to that offensive line, number one, because that offensive line with Zach Martin, Tyrod Smith, and a lot of those other guys were the big reason why Ezekiel Elliott was able to get those yards. But when you really look at it, Bo Scarborough, when you get a running back out of the SEC, no matter if it's 3 years or 10 years, you're getting something special. I mean, if you don't believe that, ask the New York Giants. They got a lot of guys from not only from my Georgia Bulldogs, they got a lot of guys from the SEC that ran them to Super Bowls. And, you know, not only them, but the University of Miami. But, you know, I believe if they would have gave him a chance, I mean, I wouldn't have blamed them because I was telling my father during that time, I said, look, they drafted Bo Scarborough for a reason in the 6th round. So, I mean, Zeke don't perform or he try to hold out, get him 20 carries every game and see how he go. But, you know, they was hell bent on giving Zeke that deal. So, I mean, plus, you know, with a lot of these Alabama players is something that people don't want to talk about. There's been a lot of booms and there's been a lot of busts. I mean, been a lot of busts. If you look at Ronaldo McClain, if you look at Trent Richardson, if you look at, you know, all the quarterbacks with the exception of Tua at a certain point. And unlike the USFL of old, the USFL back in the 80s, you guys are old enough to remember this, just as I am, they're not in the bidding war with the NFL like the UFL, I would say, it's not the bidding war like the USFL of old was. They're not trying to grab players out of college saying that, hey, we'll give you this amount of money so you can come over. And, you know, they don't have the resources at this point. So, I mean, and it helped the USFL. People can say it hurt them, but it helped the USFL with a guy, you know, not going to say his name, with a guy like that running the league at the time. You know, say what you will, but with a personality like that running that league that's willing to throw around a little bit of money to get
a little bit of money.
I mean, hey, you can start a bidding war with the NFL when you got a couple of billionaires in there, especially that person, I will say. But, you know, when you don't have a guy that's willing to put some real dollars behind it, it's going to be a minor league. And I think that's the biggest difference between the USFL back in the 80s and the UFL now. They're putting resources behind them, but it ain't them type of resources.
Right.
And listen, I'm looking at some things, man, and it's some guys, there's some recognizable names on these rosters, and you know what I'm saying. But first of all, one of the things I want to just highlight, you know, that because we're getting ready to go into the second hour, so we're going to get to our main topics and everything. But like, check these names out. I kind of like these names, man. You got the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Roughnecks, the Memphis Showboats, the Michigan Panthers, and that's the Michigan Panthers are the one with the kicker who kicked two field goals of 62 and 64 yards. Somebody in Detroit needs to pick him up. Okay, Detroit Lions, you know, pick up the phone. Okay, then we got in the XFL conference, we got the Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders, who are famous for making beer snakes in their home stadium, the San Antonio Brahmas, and the St. Louis Battlehawks, as I aforementioned. And then when I'm thinking about quarterback play, and I'm trying to figure out, well, who's the quarterback? Now look at this, okay? So off the rip, I'm looking at Case Cookis. Now, where do I remember Case Cookis from, y'all? Guys, where Case Cookis?
Case Cook. What?
That's my bell man, ain't
it? Listen, okay. Reed Sennett. I remember him from San Diego. Okay. Jared Garantano, Nolan Henderson. They all play for the Houston Roughnecks. Like, there are some names on here that, like, we have to grow into knowing. And I'm not saying that we can't, and somehow, some way that these gentlemen can't play. Ain't no way they can't play. But we just got to get to know them. They're from conferences outside of our reach, is what it sounds like. These are SEC names and whatnot. These are like Pac-12 names and stuff. Let's see. I got John Trey Kirkland from LSU playing wide receiver for the San Antonio Brahmas. The Chase Garbers. Tom Flacco, is that Joe's brother? Quentin Dormandi? Like, these are names that we have to figure out how to market them properly in the suspect on the eye of being on the NFL. And I think if anybody can figure out marketing for people who, you know, who normally you wouldn't know, I think it's The Rock, man. And to a degree, I would not be I would be remiss to think that The Rock having such a huge presence in the WWE right now has absolutely nothing to do with him in the UFL. I am pretty sure that there's a reason for him putting his face out there, being a huge part of WrestleMania. Shout out to everybody who watched 2 days worth of WrestleMania over the weekend. But I would be crazy to think that The Rock didn't just pop out of a hole for no reason. This all has to be some type of correlation. But once again, man, we'll keep our eye on the UFL as it progresses. We're getting into week 3, and we'll see exactly where that goes. But the next one, don't forget, everybody, since we're on the top of that first full hour, like, share, and subscribe to the Rec Room Sports Podcast. That's my guy, the birthday boy, Jay on the MIC. That's my other brother, Champ. A shout out to him, Undisputed World Champ on TikTok. Make sure you follow him. 1 million likes, 1 million. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to make sure we get right into it. Now, this was supposed to be fun because Bo and Champ, we're going to split a 6-pack with me and Jay. And when I say a 6-pack, I mean a 6-pack of questions or a 6-pack of topics based around what we wanted to do. But unfortunately, we got no Bo. So we're just going to split the 6-pack with us, man. Might as well. I mean, shoot, it's simple, right? So what I did was I asked Champ 3 things that he would want to talk about with us here on the Rec Room Sports Show. And I'm pretty sure that Jay has at least 2 to 3 things that he wants to talk about here on the Rec Room Sports Show. So we still going to end up splitting that 6-pack. Shout out to Samuel Dean, Rec Room Sports. They're kind of a big deal. Look at that. What's up, brother? Special teams, special plays. Okay. All right. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If y'all don't know about it, you got to catch on. You got to catch on. All right. So, guys, when we thinking about the NFL right now, off season, free agency, signings, mischief. We got some mischief going on in the NFL offseason as well. What comes to mind? And I'll go ahead and let our guest Champ take the first swing at our 6-pack today.
The first thing that comes to mind in this NFL offseason is the Houston Texans going for broke. In the great words of Babyface, I'd go for broke if I could be with you. That's exactly what they're doing right now, man. And I must say, man, I have no problem with that. This is a second-year quarterback that we've already seen in the MVP conversation his first year. Now, if you know the NFL like I know it, we've seen defensive players be involved in, MVP years, their first year of the league. We saw Lawrence Taylor. We saw a lot of guys as far as running back be involved in there. But for a quarterback with this magnitude in a league that's quarterback driven, and for him to come in and overtake what should have been, what the NFL had bid as the next coming of maybe Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning, to overtake Trevor Lawrence like he has and steal the division from him, to not only add Stephon Diggs, who is one of the premier wide receivers in the game today, but also add a pass rusher like a Danielle Hunter to an already top-ranked defense with Will Anderson. Man, I'm going to tell you, to my main man, PSP, don't be surprised if there's a passing of the torch game between CJ Stroud and Patrick Mahomes. And when I say passing of the torch, that does not mean that Patrick Mahomes is done winning Super Bowl. That just means that I would love to see CJ Stroud, who not only is carrying the weight of Houston, who has not done a lot since the great Warren Moon was there, but carrying the weight of the Ohio State quarterback curse on his back at this point. Because thus far, we have not seen a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks do a lot in this league. I mean, William Fuller, Art Schlichter, no. We've seen a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks go out like wounded lambs. So let's just go ahead and be honest about this. So he's carrying the weight of that. And for them to just go for broke and give him weapons like that, not just that, they traded for the great Joe Mixon. Traded for just made a Pro Bowl last year. For them to go for broke and do what their cross-state rivals are not doing in the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, for them to do what they're not doing, and that's just going for broke, trying to get some things done and trying to bring that city a Super Bowl for the first time ever. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. If you think a Super Bowl would be big in my home state of Georgia, can you imagine, especially in Atlanta? You know what I'm saying? I'm from Columbus, but, everybody got excited when they thought we were going to win the Super Bowl. But, 28-3, we all know the story. But can you imagine a Super Bowl with a quarterback the caliber of C.J. Stroud that hasn't had anything to cheer about? Granted, Deshaun Watson had some pretty good years, but I'm talking about having something legitimately to cheer about since the great Warren Moon left back in 93. Can you imagine how on fire that city is going to be if they're able to bring home an Lombardi?
Man, that you listen, you hit the nail on the head with the first one you cracked open. Let me tell you something. When I think about the trajectory of one CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, it is mystifying to me how you can hit on 2 draft picks in a row and basically go for, like you said, go for broke, and then it start a trend, a belief system that, unfortunately, and I can't really speak on what happened with Deshaun Watson, but I think they tried to give him tools at first, I remember Reuben Foster was really good, but hey, whatever happens to running backs happens to running backs. And everybody knows who he had as his wide receiver companion. But now we in a new era where this could turn overnight, and that's the thing. They had a great run in last season. So Jay, like when you think about the Houston Texans and what's happened thus far in the offseason, like, what's your thoughts on their trajectory as of today? I guess because it almost feel like it just happened.
Right. The first thing, as a I would say a Houston fan or anybody that's made that much of a splash, free, by trade or however, and them also adding Kylie, my man from Minnesota.
Danielle Hunter.
Yeah. So you would want to say, you kind of would think it's pretty much AFC Championship or bust. Barring, basically injury or health, you would be optimistic enough to at least say, they should be looking at an AFC Championship or, just going deep in the playoffs. From a second-year quarterback, I mean, it's not necessarily a bust. And that's crazy when you put so much into a team and then you say, well, damn, with a second-year quarterback, you like, yeah, man, we don't go to the AFC Championship. This year's a bust with a second-year quarterback. That speaks a lot for what Houston did. And kudos to Houston, man. And shout out to it's just fans. Some of those guys, man, they big Houston fans. I gave them a lot of hell going into the season, because of what they dug themselves out of, man, with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. And then, they got the 2 picks in the top 5, top 10. So you knew they were gonna try come out of it, but so soon, nobody really expected this. So I mean, you would definitely say this year you want to see your team make it to the AFC Championship. You want to go that wouldn't dare to say Super Bowl with everything that's around you in the AFC with improvements that the Ravens have made, with the improvements that the Chiefs have made, sort of now by subtraction. We don't know how the offense is going to turn out. Rashee Rice, that I think that would be a small little piece of what they're missing. You still got the draft ahead of you, so it's a good time right now. You don't want to start losing guys and having your guys on bolos. You know what I mean, during training camp and during off basically that time in training camp where you get that talk like, hey, I don't want to see you in the ledger. You know what I mean? Like, go home, be safe. Nobody shoot no fireworks. Nobody no drinking. No. If you want to drive somewhere, hey, we got a number we can call. Whatever. But definitely you would, if something was to happen to your team or somebody on your team, you would want it to happen now. So you can at least say, okay, cool. We're gonna go in the draft with this plan. We'll gladly get rid of that or recover from such a thing. But yeah, I mean, as far as Houston goes, man, you're not thinking anything but AFC Championship or better. Even though, what I'm saying, that's a tall task, what I'm saying? But with what they have available with them adding Mixon, I mean, can you imagine this team going into, Sam? Yes, the Titans have done something. But not to we're talking about a team, we're talking about Houston, man. That's Houston's, I dare not to speak about Jacksonville because somebody put up a graphic the other day that pretty much Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence are neck and neck in stats in their first 48 games of their career.
I didn't see that.
When I say neck and neck, these dudes are neck and neck as far as stats are concerned. And you don't want to be neck and neck with Daniel Jones and nothing. Because you know what I'm saying? When it comes to football. Wow. So, I dare not to say Jacksonville is going to come back from last season. I still think they look good, but that was the smoke and mirrors, man. I really think that team is going to regress even more than they've looked this past season. So I think that's Houston's division to win, and they're definitely looking at AFC Championship game. Not the AFC Championship, AFC Championship game.
Man, no, you summed it up right there, man. When you think about the composition of the AFC, it's really up for grabs unless barring injury right now, right? With the move, and I feel like just like Champ mentioned it at the beginning, like throwing Joe Mixon in there, and we've seen, and that's the thing, we've seen Joe Mixon do a little bit of everything for Cincinnati. Can he come? And I don't want to say it's a better situation, but a different situation in Houston. And can he complement what they've already built up around CJ Stroud? I like that one. I'm interested in that for sure, Champ. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. Champ, crack another one open for us when you come back and tell us what we're going to talk, what you think about a second round would be for our six-pack.
Hey, second round, got to be Saquon to the Eagles, man. Moving from your division, moving within your division. And I must say this, man. That is what happens when you overvalue quarterback and you don't understand what your greatest asset is. I understand that, hey, everybody's not anxious to pay running backs because of the wear and tear. You pretty much it's pretty much up and down every single year. It's not like back in the day where, running backs are staying healthy for at least 10, maybe 15 years. We've seen, we saw the Franco Harrises. We saw the LaDainian Thompsons. We saw the Emmitt Smiths. We saw the Roger Craigs, guys that were, if you draft them, you had at least 10 years on them. You know, there was going to you're going to at least get 2 contracts out of him. Nowadays, it's like, do I really want to pay this guy? You know, because it's like, you know, you're here one day, you're gone the next as far as being on the field. And, you know, and I understand that, but you have to understand who gets you there. And that is what happens when you don't protect your greatest asset on the field. And say, in the Giants case, that was Saquon. And for him to go to the Philadelphia Eagles, now I understand what people are going to say. They did lose the great Jason Kelce. They did lose a big centerpiece on that offensive line. But hey, you still got one hell of an offensive line at this point. You still got the tush push to look forward to. You still have Jalen Hurts. You still have that good receiving core. You still have some cornerstones in Jalen Carter from where the Georgia Bulldogs on that defensive side of the ball. So you have a lot of things to work with at this point in time. So, I mean, Saquon to the Eagles to upgrade from DeAndre Swift. It's really going to come with how Nick Sirianni uses him. Because as we know, DeAndre Swift was on that team last year. They didn't use him properly. So you really have to use Saquon the way you're supposed to use him. And if you do not, then you may be seeing the end of Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles on the Philadelphia Eagles sideline. 2 places in this world where you can get fired quicker than a hiccup. That's the University of Auburn, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles.
For sure. Man, in my estimation, man, I feel like this one right here is going to be a big splash for everyone in and around that division because, you know, of course, you know, the Eagles gotta go all the way around because Jay and I, we talk a lot. That old school, old written rule, that old get off my lawn additive, like never go to a team in your division. What? You know, for him to go to Philly, it's a big deal. Jay, when you think about Saquon going from New York to Giants, right on the other side of the bridge, well, really from almost from New Jersey to Philly, how you feel about this one, Jay?
Before he left New York, he was on a pitch count. He was on a heavy pitch count. I don't care what anybody says. You look at Saquon pre-injuries. Of course, you know, you live and you learn. You know, you definitely call plays a little bit, you know, different when you know the capability or, you know, what your running back can do, you know, what his extreme is. And I just feel like when it came to them calling plays for him, they were subtle compared to what they really asked of him to do in the past. And of course, again, you know, you could look at it one way and say he's a very talented player. He just shows that he's a great runner. But the Saquon Barkley that we saw at Penn State, we were like, this dude is a weapon. This dude is like, you know, when you look at the Marshall Faulks, when you look at, you know, even, you know, Ward Dunn, I would say like certain players, they were like running backs, but they were utility players in a way because they didn't miss blocks. You know what I'm saying? They work well in the passing game. You know, but you just see the drop off and okay, I don't see much, man. I don't think, you know, just like Robert was saying, I feel like he's made of glass too. And he definitely won't have the type of get back or snap back like, you know, McCaffrey had as he got to the 49ers. And he pretty much hit the ground running. Even he had a couple injuries when he first got there. So it's just and it had an injury pretty much towards the end of the season, you know, that they say, you know, was nothing to worry about. I don't know, man. We definitely gonna see with a team like Philly, we are definitely gonna see how he holds up. If they're going to give him the ball as much as they like to run the ball, if he's involved in that heavily, we're going to see early if Saquon can handle that. because we weren't seeing that in New York. I mean, they really like threw the ball just to give the man a break, even though they knew they couldn't throw the ball. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't see much out of this. I still think they have a quarterback that's gonna take some more steps back. He's gonna look more like the Jalen Hurts of that last season, 2 seasons ago, the last part of the season where he couldn't hit anything. You know what I mean? He couldn't hit the side of a barn. I just, I still think accuracy wise, I still think Jalen Hurts is going. I don't know. As a quarterback, I still think he has some room to grow. I don't think he's ready to take command of an offense that's not run heavy. Like he's not, and then guess that's what they're going to now. They're not going. They're getting a different offensive coordinator, and they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more with the personnel that they get. They seem like they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more. I'm just hoping for our team, my team, to pretty much capitalize on that. I can't wait.
Man, I was just about to get to that, man. Getting traded within the division, man, signing within the division. All he had to do was, take command, bro, and join the Commanders. Why not? They had all that money. They could have paid Saquon, right?
Nah, man.
When I think about what it means for Saquon to be in Philly, I feel and Sam, I think, mentioned it in the comments. The Giants are going to have it out for him. He will be on the Giants hit list. First of all, let me tell you something. Tiki Barber, okay. Tiki Barber let it be known that this means war on you, bro. Yeah, that new age, everybody's friends. I'm on my Instagram. Let me tell my truth stuff. Dave, he ain't playing. I feel like and this is just me. I feel like there are more people that feel like Tiki Barber in and around the New York Giants organization than actually stated. I think that Tiki Barber just spoke it. His teeth are really straight and white, and you can't imagine him and his like the Tiki Barber smiling demeanor. You can't imagine him saying something so visceral like you're dead to me. You're dead to me. It's over. Don't show your face. Don't even, that when the game happened, that I'm sure that if the NFL script writers are who I think they are, that's gonna be like a primetime Sunday or Monday night game, and it's gonna be in New York. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
But to be honest with you, man, New York don't really mess with Tiki Barber like that. I mean, they booed him at his Ring of Honor induction ceremony. I mean, especially after he separated himself from the team like he did right before he retired. Not to mention how he trashed Eli Manning, and he went on ahead, and Eli went on ahead to be one of the all-time greats in New York, I will say. In New York, I do stress in New York, and win 2 Super Bowls. Not only winning 2 Super Bowls, but beating the greatest of all time twice. So, and did it after you retired. So if you really want me to be honest with you, New York don't really mess with Tiki Barber like that. Regardless of what people may think, New York is still Lawrence Taylor's town to this day, and New York don't really mess with Tiki Barber like that. The only other person that can even come close at this point is Michael Strahan. But other than that, if Michael Strahan would have said that, I would have respected it. But Tiki Barber, you said that after you literally alienated the fans, you alienated the organization, and you said what you said about Eli Manning, and you separated yourself from the team by announcing you're going to retire in the middle of the season, not to mention alienating a coach who made you a better player because you was fumbling the ball more than the league. I mean, I don't even think they gave you a can of tomato cans because you might have dropped them. So
he broke a record that season.
New York don't mess with you like that. So get that. Boy. So all the stuff you did in New York, now all of a sudden you want to talk about nobody messes with somebody. Tiki, New York don't mess with you like that. I saw it firsthand, and you alienated New York. And if it wasn't for you speaking at one of the owners' funeral, you probably wouldn't even be remembered. If you really want me to be honest with you, you wasn't even an all-time great in that in the New York franchise as far as running backs.
Man, first of all, thank you for laying waste to Tiki Barber for us, champ. I appreciate it. He's never gonna come on the Rec Room Sports just because of that. I thank you so much. But I mean, let's just be real. We're from that era. We all were watching Tiki Barber. All of a sudden, had the rubber arm pads. He would only carry it in one hand because he was having fumble issues, especially crucial issues at the worst time. Tiki Barber was fumbling in his career and in the maturation of what will be eventually become Eli Manning becoming great. So, hey, look, Rob says you're right about Barber. I believe you. I completely 100% stand by you on that one. You're right about it. But, like you said, for the most part, if it was straight hand or LT, Phil Simms, maybe Plexico Burris, you know what I'm saying? Then it would have held a little different weight.
But it holds no weight in Tiki.
Weight, get it?
It holds no weight at all. Like I said, New York didn't really. I mean, he didn't even talk to his teammates. He used to tell you that he even said that in earlier interviews on the football line. He used to talk to the media because he couldn't hold conversations with his teammates. Now, if you know football locker room like I know, I mean, maybe we didn't play at that level. There's always a way to relate to teammates, no matter what sport you're playing with. But for you to alienate your quarterback and go on live television and said that his locker room speech was comical, but then you have the nerve years later to talk about, oh, you're dead to me. Like, who are you to say that? You're not one of those all-time giant greats that everybody put on a pedestal for you to say something like that. Like I said, if it wasn't for Tom Coughlin, your career wouldn't have went into the stratosphere like it did, where people were talking about you as a great running back. Because before that, if you remember correctly, they brought in Ron Dane from the University of Wisconsin in order to try to replace you, in order to go with you, in order to be with you in that backfield. Not to mention, when you were still playing, you also had to look over your shoulder for the great Brandon Jacobs that was taking your carries in the end zone, because you were not a very good goal line running back. So if you really want to look at it, you'll never be the goal line running back that Marcus Allen was. And if you really want to be honest about it, you didn't run your team to a Super Bowl in New York like a Otis Anderson did, or a Rodney Hampton, or a Joe Morris did. So the weight that you hold is like my weight when I'm walking. It holds nothing.
But listen, man, let me tell you, okay? Where Undisputed World Champ wants to blow it up, blows it up, okay? Right here, we're not gonna beat up on Tiki. You want to beat up on Tiki Samoa, Jay?
No, we not. Because
we good.
We good. I mean, it's crazy. It's like I said, if Lawrence Taylor had said something like that, it holds weight. It's kind of like somebody telling me you need to step up your game. If y'all tell me that, it holds weight. It depends on who tells you. If you guys tell me, hey, you slipping lately, man, you step up your game on your content, stuff like that, I don't really like the way you've been doing that, that holds weight. You guys are important. But if some run-of-the-mill person who doesn't even have a profile picture tell me, hey, you need to step up your game, you're looking at them like, who are you? And secondly, even though Saquon has been injured at this point, you was never a threat in the running game like Saquon is. And you was never a threat in the passing game. Like, you was never the focal point. So guess what? It's not. You can't really say a lot at this point.
Right. Let me tell you something. I forgot how good Brandon Jacobs was for a good minute. Brandon Jacobs was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry.
Yeah. SEC from Auburn.
Brandon Jacobs was Derrick Henry way before Derrick Henry. But shout out to that one and everybody, all the Giants fans and all the AFC East fans. Shout out to our guy Alan Perez, who is on the show, or OJ is on his show for the AFC East show. Don't forget to tune in to them. They will be getting into their spring mix, where they're going to be discussing AFC East draft prospects.
NFC, man.
AFC,
Why you trying
yeah.
to make us? Why you trying to make us? No, I don't want to be a part of those clowns. Everybody, yo,
The NFC East.
NFC East, where it's real, where the real football is played now.
So
It's tough.
last one, your last one. You got 3. What you got going on for your last one, champ?
Hey, the 3 is always, Act 1 and Act 2. Sometimes they don't matter. Everybody remembers Act 3. And for the last act of the great undisputed champ is I have to talk about the team that does done nothing this entire off season. And I guarantee you that the fans of this particular team are gonna say, we're going to a Super Bowl the minute that they go on one minor winning streak. And that team is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones, how can you see all of these free agents? You see all of these free agents out here. You didn't make not one trade. And keep in mind, all of these number 1 receivers, none of them required a first round pick. Let me say it again. None of them required a first round pick. Keenan Allen didn't require a first round pick. Mike Williams, although he's been often injured for the San Diego Chargers, he didn't require a first round pick. Stephon Diggs, he didn't require a first round pick. So a lot of those receivers that you could have teamed up with CeeDee Lamb in order to give him some much needed help on the opposite side of the ball, because Brandon Cooks, although serviceable, he's not up to par. You didn't do any of that. You did not replace Tony Pollard, although he did a lackluster job. You didn't replace him. You didn't replace him at all. Now it gets even worse because now you have your star quarterback who's been lackluster, although he had an MVP season. He's been lackluster in the playoffs, not to mention with a coach who was essentially an Aaron Rodgers merchant. You have them both on a prove-it deal. And if they don't get so much far as a NFC championship, I don't think neither one of them are going to be there next year. Not to mention your star wide receiver, there's rumors that he's finna hold out.
He's gonna hold out, buddy.
And one of your best defensive players. And one of your defensive players, your best defensive players, arguably since DeMarcus Ware, there's rumors going out around about him because you don't want to pay him what he's worth. And that's what that is. You did the same thing, although warranted, I will say, although warranted. You see the same thing with Ezekiel Elliott, although he was the focal point of your team. Say what you want about that, but Zeke was the focal point of that offense the first couple of years he was there. So when it was time for him to get paid, the first thing that you did is start putting out bad information. Now, he didn't help that argument much because he was putting out bad information of his own, as we saw with some of the parties that he was into, but I digress. So he didn't help his case.
That's how they party at Ohio State. Apparently, I don't know what Zeke had going on.
At least it wasn't another person's party, but we won't go there. But Dallas, it's time, man. It's time. It's time for you and the Lakers, I would say, to stop selling fan bases pipe dreams.
Not the Lakers.
You're not going to the Super Bowl. The Lakers are my team. Lakers are my team. But you have to be honest. You can't be a biased, delusional fan. You're not going to a Super Bowl anytime soon, just like the LA Lakers are not going to the NBA Finals. Blow this thing up and rebuild it the right way. It doesn't make no sense for you to keep these same players around for years and years and years and years to come. And it's officially you're wasting them away. You're not getting into the playoffs because the thing is you don't hire that hard-nosed coach that you need in order to push these players because you still want to be out front like it's 1995. You mean to tell me that Bill Belichick is on the market right about now, Mike Vrabel is on the market right about now, and the coach that you have has not done anything but a division round title run every single year, and every single year it's been almost by a blowout nearly every single year, and you don't feel the need to move on? Not to mention, you didn't do anything to replace your running game. You lost your star offensive lineman, Tyrod Taylor. He's going to Aaron Rodgers in order to try to get him a Super Bowl. So when you can factor all of that together, you have not done anything in order to prove to not only your fan base, who's delusional anyhow. I mean, they could go out and sign a tight end off the streets. They could sign Wesley Walls, who's 10 years in retirement, and they can say, "Oh yeah, we'll go to the Super Bowl. We got him back."
Not Wesley
That's how
Wall.
delusional a lot of the Cowboys.
Damn.
But the thing is, it's just like it's time to start making the correct moves. I mean, there was a time where George Steinbrenner and Jerry Jones were held up to that same standard.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches that were not only trying to make money, but spending money to make their teams a hell of a lot better. They didn't mind spending money to win, and they didn't mind spending money to be marketable. Now that comparison is flat out over at this point. Because do you really think? I just want you to look in this camera. Hey, after George Steinbrenner lost a couple World Series, he got Joe Torre up out of there. And Joe Torre is legendary.
We love Joe Torre.
So my thing is, there was a time where Jerry Jones and George Steinbrenner were held up to that same standard. Now that comparison is over. Now it's just a circus. And when you love the show more than you do the product, then eventually it takes a toll on your team, and you're not going to be, and eventually it's going to take a toll on your fan base, to be honest with you. Because remember what happened in New York? And the New York Knicks fan base, yeah, they sold out, but they start letting it be known, hey, we can't be delusional like this forever. Hey, we got to start taking some steps. So my thing is, and people keep saying that once Jerry Jones, steps out of the way or other circumstances happen, then finally Dallas will be okay. Hey, didn't we say the same thing about Al Davis and the Oakland Raiders? Look where they at right now. Franchise still in disarray years later, even after Al Davis has departed from us. God rest his soul. So if you're depending on that to happen, just remember the things that the organizations are a cornerstone for are the things that they're going to continue to do. We see that with the Raiders. Why else would you bring John Gruden back? You see that with the Cowboys. Why else would you bring a Mike McCarthy there in order to replace a Jason Garrett, who is essentially they're the same coach? So it's time for the Dallas Cowboys to be the Dallas Cowboys, the front office that is, to be the Dallas Cowboys of old. Guys who went for broke, much like the Houston Texans and a lot of these teams out there, a team that went out there and took risk, much like the Herschel Walker trade, much like the Terrell Owens acquisitions, much like the Eddie George acquisition, much like, even though they didn't work, much like the Joey Galloway acquisition and the Roy Williams acquisition. It's time for you to be the Dallas Cowboys of old. Because although the San Francisco 49ers are not winning the Super Bowl, they're putting themselves in the position to try to win one every single year. They're not just talking the talk. They're not just bumping their gums, beating their lips in, trying to tell their fan base that they're going to live in a Super Bowl. They're going out there proving to them that they're trying to win one.
Bro, and hey, bro, you speaking to the choir when it comes to that one. The Dallas Cowboys, each and every year, we're looking forward to what they do, and at the same time, what they don't do. And I can't lie, man. I feel like they prioritize, skill positions, or they overcompensate for skill positions. And this is going to be another year. And they've said it multiple times that if and when Dak gets to this money, he's going to set the market one more time. He did it 2 years ago. And then you mentioned I've seen the same thing, that there's a possibility about the CeeDee Lamb holdout. I think that's where you worry. That is where you worry. Jay, my God, as you are in the same division, what do you see, or what do you think of the Cowboys' progress this offseason, bro?
With $4.5 million in the salary cap, there will be no progress. 4.5 million, they rank at number 30 in the league salary cap money. That was as of last month. So who knows? Maybe they had to pay a couple light bills, or smaller than that. So, it's sad because once again, it's this thing. And when we talked earlier about, college basketball, we talked about these coaches. Now we're actually seeing these GMs / owners that are running into brick walls with their funds. Champ, I'll go ahead and that's an example. I would say we all know that Matt Ryan should have departed maybe 2 or 3 financially. Financially, Matt Ryan should have been out of town 2-3 years previous to when he actually left, when they actually said goodbye, Matt. Same thing with Julio. Maybe he kept Julio a little longer, maybe a year longer, but financially, and then of course Freeman, signing him was really the killer. If you would have went without Freeman and kept Matt and Julio, it would have worked as money wise. But all 3, you had to pull the plug at some point. And these owners, these old guard owners are finding themselves like hitting these brick walls financially. They're not keeping up. They're throwing money. Oh man, he's great. Yeah, I'll pay you. Oh, he's great. Yeah, I'll pay you. And then why do you think Jerry looked so sad, man? When even when he was saying, I can't put in words how he was thinking about the fact that he only has $4.5 million this season to spend. Like that is why why do you think you see, which is now probably the best team in Texas, Houston Texans, out here throwing all this around CJ Stroud, because that's the name of the game now. Get as much around as your good young quarterback as you can before you have to pay everybody.
Yep.
Get it now. Get everybody. Get your shopping list together. We got to put talent around this dude before it's time to pay him, because he's out here throwing 30 touchdowns, 4,000, 5,000 yards. Guess what? Soon as he signed on the dotted line, we got to get rid of this person. We got to get rid of that person. And we'll start this, The funny thing is when these GMs actually think like, I got an eye for talent, so I'm going to get rid of him, thinking that, oh, well, I got a good eye for talent. Well, really, no, you can't afford them no more. That's why I hate when quarterbacks sign these big deals, because you really care about your team. Yeah, man, I'm a leader. I care about my team. We fight together. We do all this together. Oh, let me sign this contract. Oh, bye. You got to go. You got to go. You got to go. Like, it's so much of a contradiction, man, when these quarterbacks are signing for these big deals, because now if a GM talks to me and says, yo, take this $50 million, I got this. I'm going to get you this. I'm going to get you that. I'm going to do what needs to be done to get talent around you no matter what. But then there's these GMs that, once sometimes the quarterback signs this deal and it kills the team. It kills the team. You can look at all your runners up from championship games that did well when Jacksonville got to the AFC Championship. When certain teams get there with what they have, soon as that quarterback signs that deal, it will not be the same team again.
Unless you're Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, everybody, and that's the thing. Like, everybody is not like. Funny thing about Kansas City is that's a GM that's dealing with the times. We walked into a contract where they were last in rush defense, at one time last in pass defense. Okay, let's give him freaking 200 something for whatever, 400 million, whatever. Now we got a top 5 defense. That is a good GM. That is a GM using all his resources and knowing that once I give you this money, I'm still going to make this happen. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Fontenot in New Orleans that went to Atlanta and it's working out for him now, he's doing the right thing now, but he put the Saints in the dirt. Hey, Drew, here you go. Here you go, Drew. You want more money? I got you. We're going to tell everybody we front loading it so we can do this and do that. Man, it was like 80-something million out of it.
Whew.
He left New Orleans in shambles.
Cap hell. Cap hell.
And he just moved on to the next. He said, shoot, I get y'all out of cap. You know, you live and you learn. He went on to Atlanta and was like, all right, this is what I'm not gonna do. Right? I'm gonna get as many, you know, it's just a way to do it. You get as much picks as you can, you get as much young guys in as you can, you get that quarterback, you guess right on the quarterback, and you go from there. But once you have to sign that deal, hopefully you have won a championship by then. And that's just the name of the game.
Listen, Jake. Let's Rob. Shout out to Rob for tuning in. It only works for Mahomes because the NFL script writers love him. They will move on and pick a new QB to glorify either Stroud or possibly Caleb. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm somewhat like right in that vein of saying, of course, you know. Let's say this first. We may joke about the script writers and what goes on, but literally how it happened to Patrick Mahomes that was so perfect, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. And then, you know, Jay's talking about his money. I think that one of the smartest things that either he did or probably they also advised him to was him saying, well, let me just spend this money on being involved with the Kansas City Royals. That money is being transferred, so when he restructured his deal, they could pay somebody else. Who the best player on the defense? You know what I'm saying? There's very rarely that we see that in the NFL right now. You know, Tom Brady, the greatest player of all time, probably will be rich beyond his years, but he was never the highest paid quarterback.
It would. What the Cowboys did, if you Madden players out there, when your penalty is too high and they tell you, like, yo, we about to take your team away from you, that's what's happening to the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Right now.
You talking about 50 million, and yeah, like he's good. CD is gonna take a page out of Dak's book and actually do this holdout, go through with this holdout.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he needs to be seeking a trade partner.
It's a dangerous game that we're playing right now because the point is these wide receivers have been going left and right for second, third, fourth round pick. Now, will you get CeeDee Lamb for a second or third round pick? I don't think so. Not unless it's multiple picks. But you know, hey, look, you know, I love it here. I love Jerry Jones. I love Dallas. You can say all of that. But when them checks ain't adding up, man, look here, man. Go ahead and send me to Arizona. Arizona got some money. They'll pay me.
$4.5 million. When they got that long snapper, like I wonder how much they had before the long snapper, yo. Can you imagine?
Long snapper just eating up cap space. You know what I'm saying? Bro, you go out there for how many plays? You eating up cap, boy, you get off that, you know.
Taking all our money.
Right. And once again, we will see, because it's been speculated on numerous occasions that when Dak Prescott goes into the negotiating room, he will be looking for generational money from the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't know how they're gonna pay him and CD. I don't. I can't see it. But we're gonna keep our eyes on this one for sure. Champ, thank you for your 3 that we split together. Jay, you got one to throw in, man, for the off season?
I mean, I guess I'm just gonna speak on my team, man. I guess and like it's like 20. We're at like 20, 23 guys and counting, and we still, hey, Cowboys fans, we just signed 20 something dudes, and we got $39.2 million left. How about y'all? Now, you know, of course, we got a long way to go, man. We have a new team, basically. We got a lot of work to do. But I feel good about that, man. Being, like I said, no, we have, the Eagles has 39.2 million. We have 49 million. Sorry about that. We have 49 million. Now, I'm sure that went down because we got a couple of offensive linemen, but those are offensive linemen. They're not getting big deals, so we're pretty close to that amount. But 49 million,
we made a lot of moves. I just hope that this is not another off season that we won. Like we make a lot more noise in the off season than during the season. And I just want to see it actually carry on, into something positive. I was watching RG3, he was speaking his mind. They actually ranked him as the highest rookie year, the best rookie year ever in professional football since 2010. Since 2010, in which he actually came in 2010, and they ranked him as the actually having the best rookie season from 2010. You look at that list, you have you got your Odell Beckham, you got your a lot of guys on that list. Man, some that kind of stuck out, but RG3 basically was saying, what these teams need to do going into this season, man. Like, people are throwing out, if you ask 20 different people about Drake May, you're gonna get 20 different damn answers. You know what I'm saying? And that's that, of course, that's just the NFL draft and how it works. But oh my gosh, me personally, I don't want Jaden Daniels. Just one of the moves, man, is all of our moves. All of our moves, hoping that it just gets into some type of like positive, man. Like, we got a lot of veterans. We didn't have a lot of veterans last season. We only had a few, speckled out, but we have some veteran leadership. We're making a lot of moves. Everybody was whining about, oh, what about offensive line? Well, we got that too. We covered that. We got with a lot of money left over. So Cowboys fans, I mean, I hope y'all work it out, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna put this out there. You can't make decisions where, like we made, and I really love this, when we actually tried to sign Amari Cooper for $91 million, knowing that the Cowboys was gonna accept that offer and match and take him. Great move. Back to this $4.5 million that y'all got.
Ooh.
I hope y'all enjoy it for a player that you don't need, not for a player, but you made a lot of decisions to lead into this point. For a lot of players that you don't even have anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I hope, like, at some point Jerry does kind of get his mind into more of the family business and not just, he needs to take this step back. This is salary cap hell. I don't think Cowboys realize $4.5 million. What the hell is Dak signing with $4.5 million? What the hell is CD signing with $4.5 million? Who's signing what? Trade. Let him go. Let's give us CD. Give us CD Lamb. Let us be one of those divisional trades, because we, in the 80s, early 90s, there were some guys that were good for jumping off the Eagles and going to the Giants. Oh, man, Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell played for every damn team in the NFC East.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now, they used to have those guys. Go ahead and make that move, y'all. Go ahead and send CD over here, man. $4.5 million is not going to do it, and you know it. Stop leading these delusional fans into the damn river, man, because that's where you leading them into a damn. You got these people playing Frogger, man. You taking them out into the damn interstate. You know what I'm saying? On rush hour traffic. Come on, Cowboys fans, let's go. Come on, man. We gonna make
Watch
it.
out for that truck. Watch out.
Man. They ain't gonna do nothing. They can't even sign. They can't even pay their employees going into next season.
Oh, God.
What are you talking about, man? So it's fun to watch. I can't wait to see what comes about, man, and all of this, man. I hope, Jerry Jones does not have a freaking heart attack from this, because this is hard to deal with. This is hard to deal with, yo. Like, I'm being honest, like, y'all sitting there, this could possibly kill Jerry Jones, man, and what he's going through right now. Knowing that he only has $4.5 million. I'm talking about 4 point. He's not doing nothing. He won't. $4.5 million ain't gonna do nothing but buy you. That's like
Buy you some nachos.
That's shoot.
No,
you can match
seriously. That'll get you like maybe 2, maybe 3 veteran minimum players.
But who? Yeah, but who want? But that's the thing. If it's 2 or 3 veteran minimum players, they would have been there. They would have been there by now. You know, we would have heard about it.
And think about how
Yeah.
Dallas used to be when it came to free agents. Who didn't want to go to Dallas? Deion
Right.
Sanders went to Dallas. T.O. went to Dallas. You know, some of the running backs, you know, that we saw went to Dallas. I mean, plus, you know, we knew how they was drafted. You know, Marion Barber, they was all they kept a running back at the helm.
But
Yeah,
remember when Darren Woodson got that contract, what happened to that defense?
It went down.
See,
Went down.
we talking about guys that freaking Jimmy Johnson got for, just like y'all say, got for some nachos, got for
Yeah.
Herschel Walker, and all these dudes. They were playing that game. They had all these people that didn't cost a thing. Put
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith out there, Troy Aikman out there, Michael Irvin. Hey, let's spend all our money, not spend all our money in the offensive line, but they basically guessed right with their offensive linemen. Maybe they got no, Nate Newton probably got a good contract. Larry Allen at one point got a good contract. But the way they pieced it together, there were a lot of guys that were on the minimum. But as soon as they started signing, like I said, when Darren Woodson got that money, that wasn't the same team no more. And by that time, you know, Troy Aikman was shot. Michael Irvin was pretty much out of the league. You know, he had the neck injury. But when they gave Darren Woodson all that money because he actually went out there, stayed on the team, and earned that money, that was a wrap. You never saw the same Cowboys again.
Jared Jones might have 4.5 million more assets than the salary cap, but he not gonna be able to pump it into the team. This isn't Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't understand why. And maybe one day they will, but that, of course, it's no time soon because you know the CBA I think they got another year before they discuss the players, the NFL players union and stuff. The salary cap in the NFL is trash to a degree because it's hurting the product, in my opinion. You know, Major League Baseball figured it out. Hey, you got money, you got money, you got money. If they want to play with you, they play with you, and you can, if you can afford to pay them the money that the exorbitant money that their skill set that is demanding you to pay them, and pay them. But right now, with this just like Jay has stated, this $4.5 million is going to handicap a lot of people unless several players that they're going to have to pay some type of monetary compensation for. They're going to go, hey, you know what, Jared? I love you so much. I'll take 1.5 right now. You can give me 2.7 million in stock options that we'll do off the books, and the rest of it will be backloaded in a 3-year deal. Which on the 3rd year we'll give you a team option, which means you can trade me, get rid of me, or do something for it. I'll do it for you right now.
That's me money. That's our money. That's like you only gonna sign us for that type of money. You know what I mean?
I know that, but that's it's far-fetched. It's very far-fetched. It's not going to happen for somebody like CeeDee Lamb, who was the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL last year. He ain't taking nothing but the best. Dak Prescott,
Robert.
Yeah, Dak Prescott, who was top 5 in all quarterback categories last season. You got to get some money. So I don't know exactly how. Tony might want to sign for 4 points. Hey, listen, Tony will come back and do it. Might do a better job.
Hey, and for everybody who keeps saying that if they had no salary cap in the NFL, the teams that have the deepest pocket would have the most. Just remember this. Just remember one thing. The Yankees ain't won a World Series since Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter left. So my thing is, if teams don't want to come to your organization, the days of the big market is pretty much over with the advent of social media.
Right.
And not only that, Shaq proved that back in 95 that you can win, that you can make yourself out of a marketing tool and you don't even have to be in a big market. I mean, and if that didn't show you, then Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden did the same thing. And, you have to think about it. Kansas City is a big football market. It is not a big market in itself. So, I
Right.
mean, if you play your cards right as a team, then you can get these big time players that you need in free agency. But guess what? You have to be a model organization. And like I said, at one time, George Steinbrenner and Jerry Jones were the model organizations. So,
Well, you know
To your
what,
boy
boys?
Robert.
Oh, go
What?
ahead.
My fault. To your boy Robert. I hope you're not a Seahawks fan. I got on board about this, man, but look, Sam Howell is gonna take Geno Smith's job, man, and
Man.
it's a wrap. Sam Howell's gonna take this job from Geno, man.
Uh-oh.
He's
Likewise,
gonna-
Oakland some faults and to the local government.
Yeah.
Jay, I remember you talking about that whole aspect of what may or may not happen to Geno Smith. But look, boys, even though we didn't get to all 6 of them, we at the top of that second hour or so.
I wish you had more time.
Bro, let me tell you something, man. We had a great show today. 2 whole hours of the fellas coming in and talking sports. That's what we like to do here at Rec Room, man. Undisputed Champ, man. I know you got some things going on this week. Tell the people what your schedule looks like, for the rest of the weekend.
okay, man, look here. Next week, I will be bringing. Last week, we brought back the Undisputed GOAT podcast, which is my show personally. Had a hell of a time with the pod. Shout out to the pod. Y'all know who y'all are. This week, I will be bringing back that show this coming Thursday, and we will be going over not only NFL free agency, but the top 10 tag team champions in wrestling history.
Oh,
So look out for that show. You heard it here first on Rec Room Sports. I've been waiting on the right show to announce this on. So the top 10 wrestlers, top 10 tag team wrestling in wrestling history. We're gonna have a ball that day, man. Hey,
that's nice.
Just to let you know, the Road Warriors will not be number one.
The
Road Warriors will not be number one on that. But top 10 tag teams of all time, coming off the heels of WrestleMania, gotta pay some homage to some wrestling. Hey, in the NFL all season, gotta go over some basketball as well. Hey, Friday. Shout out to my brother, Sports PSP. I will be on his show, and we're going to chop it up. And if you're not a fan of that show, you need to check him out. He is an absolute genius the way he produces that show. I love being on that show, and it's going to be a blast. And, not so sure if he's doing the show this week, but shout out to Brandon from the block. If he does this show tomorrow, I just got to send him a shout out, man. Shout out to the pod, man. And shout out to Trent. I was on his show right before I came to this one. So it's a busy schedule this week, man.
Hey, bro, you the man to do it. If I see you 10 times on my TikTok timeline, I'm sure you do about 4 or 5 shows a week. So it's all good, man. It's all good. Jay, my brother, continuing the birthday streak. What you got going on this week, bro?
Oh, I'm just gonna finish what I started, man. I'm going to I don't know, man. I'm just gonna be in the win. I think we got a little something with Alan. I'm just gonna be
Alan, what's up?
And Whit, man, you have your birthday coming up on the 13th. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate that. They took Sam Howell from us, man. Robert, listen. Oh man, boy, but nah, man, we just gonna be kicking it. I don't know, man. I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know. I don't know.
I feel you. So for me, tomorrow we are back. Head Kicks and Haymakers, me and my guy Nick Botkins. We will be talking about finally, after all this time, UFC 300 is Saturday. Oh my God. So I got a whole birthday planned. I'll be with my kids. I'm supposed to have all my sons in one place. And then after a long day of doing dad stuff, I'm going to be like, all right, everybody be quiet, leave me alone unless you want to watch UFC. And then we'll see how things go on Friday, because don't forget, this is the last week of the NBA regular season, and we will be getting ready for the third annual play-in tournament? Is it third annual?
The play-in.
Third, yeah.
I think, the third annual play-in tournament, and we're going to see who's going to be playing the Celtics and possibly the Timberwolves, unless they lose, I think, tomorrow, because then Oklahoma City will go back to number one, and so on and so forth. But we all interested in that. No more NCAA basketball, so shout out to that. But don't forget, also next week, the WNBA draft. Oh my God, we know who's going number one. Well, let's check out who it happens with our girl Camila Cardoso from University of South Carolina.
Yes, indeed.
She's having a meet and greet, dude, tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love. I don't know why. I just feel like I want to put my hand on her shoulder.
Okay.
I just want to, not in a negative way. We're not sexualizing like Angel Reese. But I feel like she's a cool person, and I would love to stand next to her and take a picture as her being 6'8" and stuff. Rob, what you got to say? Wish could talk BB, but I got boycotts. Basketball, since they stole my Sonics. Durant was the first time. Listen, bro, and y'all and Uncle Bo just was talking about the disparity between the Seattle Storm, and y'all be living in that area and not knowing when the season starts and when it ends. So definitely we got some more to talk about. Even if it's not basketball, it's going to be women's basketball. So for my guys, once again, I appreciate y'all for.
Hey, thank y'all too, man.
Oh yeah, man, no problem.
Appreciate everybody on Facebook and stuff, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jay.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, man.
So for my guy, Undisputed Champ, for my guy, Jay, the birthday boy, and me, your boy, K Witt, man, we had a great show. I appreciate everybody in the comment section for tuning in. We're going to try and get it in. I think we got like another month or we're getting closer and closer to draft day. Then we're going to talk all NBA for Rec Room Sports. We're going to get Champion here too, and Uncle Bo back whenever we can. So once again, thank you. Like, share, subscribe. It was a great show. We got to go.